Well, CBS News correspondent Don Dahler is in Old Forge, Pennsylvania, one of several cities under a state of emergency. Don, I can see the rate that the water is sort of rushing past you in the back. I can imagine that if someone gets stuck in this, if they're in their car, it could just sweep them away.
Well, that's very true. Hi, Anne Marie. Yeah, this is the Lackawanna River. It's not normally a Category 5 rapids, but it certainly is today. And in fact, just a few hours ago, the area where I'm standing here was completely underwater. The camera is on a road that was completely underwater, just as you said. So you can imagine if it was that kind of rapid water crossing that, very, very dangerous. We've seen a number of cars over here that were swamped and actually floating at one point. And all this is caused by rain. It wasn't a burst dam or anything like that. It was 8 inches of rain in some areas. The ground is so saturated that water didn't have anywhere to go. So the rivers and the creeks are swollen. And this is the real cause for concern because the forecast still holds out the possibility of even more rain in the next day or so.
So the area where you are, this Old Forge area, it's under a state of emergency. What does that mean for the people who live in the area? Are they able to return to their homes? Are they being told to stay in place? What's going on there?
Well, in fact, all of Pennsylvania is under, some of these counties are under county-wide states of emergency, and the governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, has activated the state's emergency coordination council there, the center that coordinates all of that kind of thing. He has put the National Guard on notice to be ready to rescue anybody. They have requested evacuations in certain communities. Police have gone and said, look, you're right next to a river here, you're in danger, we would appreciate if you evacuated. To my knowledge, there are no mandatory evacuations right now, but we have seen a number of people take the better part of discretion there and move out of their homes, take some of their belongings and get away until this danger has passed.
Yeah, better to prepare for the worst. As I understand it, there have already been several rescues around Pennsylvania. Can you give us any details on that?
Very, very dramatic rescues. There was some video of a 12-year-old boy near Philadelphia who had somehow got swept out onto a pile of brush like what you see out there in the middle of a roaring creek. Some rescuers got out to him in a raft with a rope, were able to save him. And then late last night, we got word of a number of rafters, people who are, I believe, from a church group, around 200 of them that had been having a wonderful time rafting. A thunderstorm blows up, and all of a sudden the river turns dangerous. And at one point, there was 150 of them were reported missing. It turns out that they made their way to shore, they made their way to safety, and I'm happy to report now that all of them are accounted for.
Well, that's good news. You want to check the forecast before you embark on something like that, especially the way the rains have been coming and going. You know, we've seen some really incredible video of some of the flooding. We've seen, cars being swept down streets. I think there was a car dealership that sort of lost almost all of their cars. What's the cleanup going to be like after this?
It's a mess. We've seen a number of areas. In fact, you can't see it, but right here to the left of me, the street is buckled. That seems to be a lot of the damage besides the actual flooding of homes and businesses and their basements being full. You know, the sheetrock, the electrical, everything like that gets ruined. But for the immediate problems around this area, it's the buckled streets. When the water flows over asphalt, a lot of times it undermines the soil underneath it. The street buckles or it collapses. They have to go in with heavy equipment. We've already seen that as early as yesterday. Bulldozers out, removing the buckled asphalt, putting down new rock and stone, and then pouring new asphalt on there. Trying to get a lot of these thoroughfares are main streets, trying to get them up and going so people can come and go from their homes and businesses.
All right. Well, Don Dahler, I just can't imagine what it's like out there. I mean, the water really looks particularly dramatic. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.